Ever get lost just scrolling through footage for like hours just to find that perfect moment? You know, that shot that makes your video sing. Today we're diving into something that promises to like change all that Markerflow.
It's not just about saving time, though. It's really about like shifting your mental approach to editing.
Okay, so tell me, what is Markerflow? Is this like a whole new editing suite we're talking about?
It's surprisingly simple, actually. Imagine like just a regular video player, but with the power to tag those important moments as you watch.
So like instead of a notepad, I'm using this app to take notes right on the video.
Exactly. And these aren't just any old notes. Markerflow lets you color code them so you can really create like a visual map of your entire video's narrative.
Hold on, a visual map. That's fascinating.
Yeah, think about it. You can mark all those important shots or sound bites or even like emotional cues with different colors, red for action, blue for dialogue, green for those beautiful establishing shots, whatever system works for you.
Wow. Yeah, I'm already seeing how this could be a game changer. No more getting lost in the timeline jungle.
And get this, Markerflow speaks Premiere Pro.
Wait, it works directly with Premiere Pro? That's my main editing software?
Yep, you can export all your color-coded markers and they just magically appear right on your Premiere Pro timeline ready to edit.
Okay, that's slick, so I can plan my whole edit before I even open Premiere.
Precisely. It lets you focus on like the big picture, the story, the pacing, the flow.
This is blowing my mind a little bit. It's like pre-production and editing all rolled into one.
And they've got some cool new features that they're working on too. One that really caught my eye is this audio waveform visualization that they're developing.
I was just going to ask you about that. I saw it on their website. How does that work?
Yeah, so you'll be able to actually see the audio peaks and valleys right in the Markerflow player. So finding the perfect soundbite or, those quiet moments for transitions will be a breeze.
Okay, that's huge, especially for somebody like me who often relies on those subtle audio cues to like guide my edits.
Yeah, it's all about working smarter, not harder. And it seems like Markerflow is really designed with that philosophy in mind.
So far, it definitely seems that way. But I'm curious, what about those of us who don't have the latest, greatest computer?
Yeah.
Will this thing bog down my system?
That's a common concern, but Markerflow is designed to be super lightweight. It runs smoothly on pretty much any computer that can just handle regular video playback.
So no need to shell out for a fancy new rig just to use this tool. I like that.
Of course, the smoother your computer runs, the better the experience is going to be, especially with larger video files. But it's not going to demand a supercomputer or anything.
Speaking of potential hurdles, let's talk about the subscription model. I know that can be a sticking point for some people.
Yeah, it's true. Subscriptions are a bit of a love-hate thing these days.
But I also get that it allows the developers to constantly update and improve the software, which is important in a fast-evolving field like video editing.
Exactly, and Markerflow seems committed to adding new features and making sure it's compatible with the latest software updates. So in a way that subscription ensures you're always getting the best possible version.
That makes sense. It's like an investment in your workflow and hopefully in your creativity too.
Speaking of the future, Markerflow is planning to expand beyond just Windows. They're working on versions for Android tablets, Mac OS, and even Linux.
That's great news for anyone who's not on a Windows machine or might switch in the future. It really opens up the possibilities.
Yeah, and they're also exploring the idea of cloud sync and collaboration features, which could be a total game changer for teams working on those bigger projects.
Okay, now I'm really picturing the possibilities here. Cloud-based marking and editing that feels like the future. But let's get back down to earth for a minute and get into the nitty-gritty. How does one actually use Markerflow?
It's surprisingly intuitive. You just drag and drop your video file right into the Markerflow player, hit play, and start watching.
So just like I'm watching a YouTube video.
Pretty much. And as you come across a moment that you want to mark, you have a couple of options. You can either hit the number keys 1 through 0, each corresponding to a different color marker, or you can just click directly on the marker buttons right on the screen.
So whether I'm a keyboard shortcut ninja or a point-and-click kind of person, I'm covered?
Exactly. And then once you're done marking up your video, you hit export, and Markerflow generates an XML file containing all your color-coded markers.
And that XML file is what I then import into Premiere Pro, right?
Yep. And just like that, your Premiere timeline is pre-populated with all your carefully marked moments.
Now I'm curious, is Markerflow just for professional video editors like myself? Or can anybody benefit from this?
That's where it gets really interesting. The potential applications go way beyond the traditional editing world.
All right, let's dig into that. Who else could benefit from using Markerflow?
Well, imagine you're a documentary filmmaker with like hours and hours of interviews to sift through.
Oh, I feel that pain trying to find the right sound bites in a sea of footage can be a nightmare.
Right. Exactly. But with Markerflow, you can quickly mark those key moments as you watch, red for powerful quotes, blue for those emotional cues, green for historical context, whatever system works for you.
It's like having a personal assistant pre-organize all your footage.
Yeah, and think about like content creators making those fast-paced videos for social media. They could use Markerflow to quickly identify and mark all those perfect little clips for their YouTube montages or TikToks.
So they can essentially create a visual storyboard using Markerflow, which would save them tons of time in the editing process.
And we can't forget about educators. Imagine using Markerflow to mark like key concepts, definitions, and examples in educational videos.
Yeah, it would make creating structured and engaging lessons so much easier.
You see, Markerflow has the potential to empower all kinds of video creators, not just professional editors.
It's all about finding ways to streamline your workflow and free up more time for the creative side of things.
Absolutely, and it seems like Markerflow is a really powerful tool for achieving just that.
I'm already starting to think about how I can incorporate this into my own workflow. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a quick pause here and give you, our listener, a moment to reflect.
Yeah, what stands out to you so far? What aspects of Markerflow are sparking your curiosity?
We'll be right back after a short break to dive deeper into Markerflow and address some of the questions that might be on your mind. Welcome back. I'm sure some of you are already imagining how Markerflow could transform your video projects.
It is exciting to think about the possibilities, but before you jump in, we should probably address some of the questions that you might have.
Good point. No tool is perfect, right? So
Yeah.
what are some of the potential downsides or limitations we should be aware of?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is compatibility right now. The direct export feature is really tailored for Adobe Premiere Pro.
So if you're using Final Cut Pro or another editing software,
Yeah,
it might not be as seamless.
exactly. However, some other software might support similar XML formats, so it's always worth checking the specifications.
And I'm guessing Markerflow probably works best with certain types of video projects, right?
That's true. It really shines in situations where you're dealing with lots of footage and need to quickly identify key moments.
So like the documentary example you mentioned earlier.
Precisely, or for those content creators who are like assembling fast-paced videos with tons of clips.
But what about someone working on a more narrative-driven project, like a short film or a music video? Would Markerflow still be useful?
It could be, but it might not be as essential as it would be for projects with a heavier emphasis on footage review and selection.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
No tool is, it's about finding the right tool for the right job.
And speaking of the right job, what about file sizes? Can Markerflow handle those massive 4K video files that are becoming increasingly common these days?
It's actually been optimized to work smoothly, even with 4K footage.
That's good to know because I was imagining my computer choking on a giant video file.
Of course, the overall performance will depend on your computer's hardware, but Markerflow itself is designed to be as efficient as possible.
So smoother sailing, even with those high-resolution behemoths.
Another question that often comes up is internet connectivity. Do you need to be constantly online to use Markerflow?
This is a big one for me. I often find myself working offline, especially when I'm traveling or on location.
You'll be happy to hear that Markerflow works entirely offline. You only need an internet connection for the initial download and for any updates.
Okay, so no need to tether myself to a Wi-Fi hotspot just to mark up some footage. That's a huge relief.
And if you ever run into trouble or have questions, they're building out a comprehensive library of tutorials and support materials.
So even if you're new to this whole video marking thing, you'll have guidance every step of the way.
Yeah, they're really trying to make it as accessible and user-friendly as possible.
Okay, so we've covered some of the potential downsides and technical considerations. But now I'm really curious to hear about some real-world success stories. How are people actually using Markerflow out there in the wild?
We've seen some really interesting examples. One that comes to mind is a wildlife filmmaker who used Markerflow to organize hours of footage from a recent expedition.
Wow, I can only imagine how much footage they must have captured trying to find those perfect shots of animals in their natural habitat. Must be like finding a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. But with Markerflow, they were able to color code every significant animal, citing every interesting behavior, every stunning landscape shot.
So when they sat down to edit, they had a visual roadmap of all the best moments.
And it allowed them to focus on crafting a compelling narrative rather than getting bogged down in the logistical nightmare of sorting through all that footage.
I bet that saved them a ton of time and frustration.
Yeah, and it ultimately resulted in a more powerful and engaging film.
That's a great example. Any other inspiring stories out there?
Well, there's this YouTube content creator who completely revamped their workflow using Markerflow.
You mean those creators who are pumping out videos like every other day?
Mm-hmm.
I've always wondered how they manage to stay so organized and efficient.
It's no small feat, but this particular creator started using Markerflow to plan out their videos in advance. They would mark all the key moments, transitions, and even potential jump cuts using different colors.
So it's almost like they were storyboarding their videos directly within Markerflow.
Exactly, and it gave them a clear visual structure to work with when they went into their main editing software.
That's so smart. It's like having a blueprint for your video before you even start cutting.
And because they were so organized up front, their editing process became much faster and more streamlined.
And I'm guessing that freed up more time for them to focus on other aspects of their channel, like engaging with their audience or coming up with new ideas.
Exactly. It's all about working smarter, not harder.
Now, these are just a couple of examples, but I can already see how Markerflow has the potential to benefit creators across a wide range of fields.
It's not just about the specific features. It's about the underlying philosophy of shifting your focus from the technical to the creative.
That's a great point. It's about empowering creators to spend less time wrestling with their tools and more time bringing their visions to life.
And I think that's something we can all get behind.
Absolutely. Now, before we move on to the final part of our deep dive, I want to turn the conversation back to you, our listener.
Yeah, we've shared some insights and stories, but now we want to hear from you.
What are your initial impressions of Markerflow? What challenges do you face in your own video projects that this tool might address?
Take a moment to really envision how Markerflow could fit into your workflow. Could it be the missing piece that unlocks new levels of creativity and efficiency?
Welcome back to the deep dive. Hopefully those wheels are turning and you're starting to imagine all the possibilities Markerflow could unlock for you.
Yeah, we've really explored a lot of ground, from the features to the potential impact on various workflows.
But before we set you off on your own Markerflow journey, we want to crystallize a few key takeaways and leave you with some final thoughts.
One thing that consistently stands out to me is just the elegance of Markerflow. It's so simple and intuitive, yet it addresses such a fundamental need that's often overlooked in video editing.
You're right. It's like they took a step back and said, how can we make this crucial step of pre-organizing footage as effortless as possible?
Yeah, and by doing so, they've created a tool that can fundamentally change the way we approach video editing, regardless of skill level or the type of project.
It's not just about saving time. It's about shifting your mental focus. Instead of getting bogged down in the technical details, you can stay in that creative headspace and really connect with your story.
Exactly. Those color-coded markers, they become more than just organizational tools. They become like a visual language for your narrative.
I love that idea. It's like you're painting your story with color, highlighting those emotional beats and the key moments that will resonate with your audience.
And I think that visual aspect can be incredibly powerful, not just for solo creators, but also for collaborators and clients.
Oh, absolutely. I can imagine this being a game changer for client presentations. Instead of trying to explain your vision verbally, you can show them a clear visual roadmap.
Takes all the guesswork out of the feedback process.
Now, we've talked a lot about the positives, but I think it's important to acknowledge that Markerflow isn't some magical cure-all.
Of course not. It's a tool, and like any tool, it has its limitations.
It's not going to magically transform you into a master storyteller or a world-class editor overnight.
But it can certainly help you work smarter, not harder. Remove those frustrating roadblocks and free up more mental energy for the creative aspects of your project.
And in a world where we're constantly bombarded with distractions and demands on our time, that kind of efficiency can be invaluable.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming those precious hours and focusing on what truly matters. Bringing your ideas to life.
Well said. So as we reach the end of our deep dive into Markerflow, we will leave you with one final question to ponder.
How could this tool, with its simplicity and elegance, transform your approach to video?
What projects have you been putting off because you just dreaded the thought of sifting through hours of footage?
Could Markerflow be the key that unlocks those creative doors?
We encourage you to explore Markerflow further and discover the possibilities for yourself.
You can find all the information you need, including tutorials, pricing, and support on their website at www.markerflow.com.
And if you have any questions or feedback, don't hesitate to reach out to their team at support@markerflow.com.
Happy marking!
And happy editing!
Markerflow. Watch, mark, edit, simplified.